formula. All right, so here is our second quadratic equation. Did anybody do this one first, or did anyone do it, period? Okay. How would I start to solve this? I could distribute, but I don't think you have to. Because, take a look at this, guys. The zero property of multiplication, and I don't know if that's what it's really called, but if you have something times another factor and that equals 0, what has to be true about either one of these factors? They have to be 0. So you can set those equal to 0 and solve for x right away. Does everybody understand that? So I could hit and put 6x plus 5. Set it equal to 0. I can put 2x minus 1. Set that equal to 0. So do you see why I don't have to and don't necessarily want to distribute? Because it's already in factored form, which is what we try to get to when we do Xbox. So here, for the first equation, subtract 5, 6x equals negative 5, divide by 6, divide by 6. So x is equal to negative 5/6. That is one of your solutions. Yeah.
But when I distribute, I get the same answer.
You will. Yes, you absolutely will. But you just did some extra steps. And that's okay. But, if you can recognize this is what I need to do, then you can, skip that extra step. But absolutely, you're right. Yes, you will get the same answer. And for this one over here, add 1, because we're trying to isolate and solve for my x. That gives me 2x equals 1. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X is equal to 1/2. So those are the two solutions for that second problem. But you have to recognize, these are already factors. They're already being multiplied by each other and they equal 0. So one or both have to equal 0. So set them equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay? Any questions about that? Any questions? Okay. All right, let's take it the first one, which I think this one is the hardest one to solve. Okay, we're trying to solve for x. We see it's going to be a quadratic. What did you do first to try to solve here? You distributed? What did you distribute?
3.
The 3?
But before that, we need to do square.
Yeah, you should have done the square. Depending upon how you did it, it might be okay. Okay? Might be okay. So x minus 4 times x minus 4. I'm going to tell you guys, and this is kind of important, write it out. Because here's what I'm seeing. People will say x squared, and they're going to say negative 4 times negative 4 is plus 16. That is not equal to x minus 4 quantity squared. This is not correct. Okay? If you write it out like this and do double distributive property or FOIL property, as I'm used to calling it, you're going to say x times x is x squared. You're going to take the first x times the second term, or your outsides, which is minus 4x. You're going to take your second term times this first term, or the inside terms for minus 4x. And then last times last is 16. You're going to combine these two and get x squared minus 8x plus 16. That is going to go in place of this, x squared minus 8x plus 16. And we're going to keep times 3 at the beginning, minus 2 here, equals 25. But lots of kids will miss this middle part. Okay? All right, so now here, what would you do next? Distribute. Is that what you said? Okay, which we'll get to soon. I would distribute and say, with each of these, 3x squared minus 24x plus 48 minus 2 equals 25. Here I can combine my 48 minus 2, get 3x squared minus 24x plus 46 equals 25. Now I would try to set it equal to 0 by doing what? Subtracting 25, and you can only subtract 25 from another number, so no need to put it over way on the left. Now I get the 0 I'm finally looking for. 3x squared minus 24x plus 21. Okay, so we have a brand new quadratic now. It's finally kind of cleaned up. Put it in the equation? What do you mean? It is in an equation now. What do you mean?
Like the, I don't know what it's called.
Quadratic formula? We could do that. What do I always need to look for?
The GCF?
GCF. Do I have a GCF?
Yeah. No?
Yeah, I do. What is it? 3. So that means I'm going to divide all of these by 3 or factor this 3 out. And what I have left is x squared minus 8x plus 7 equals 0. Okay. So obviously 3 does not equal 0. That's if they asked for it in factored form, I would include the 3, but 3 does not equal 0. So I'm looking at this new and improved quadratic equation. What do you think now? What would I do? I could use the formula. I could use quadratic formula. Or I could try Xbox. Is that what you said? Okay, and if I try Xbox, remember the A times C value goes at the top, B goes here. So A is 1, C is 7, 1 times 7 is 7. Middle B is negative 8. I need factors of 7 that add to negative 8. How about negative 1 and negative 7? Yep. That'll work. Then I do the box. Anaya, are you with us? So first term goes in the first box. Last term goes in the last box. The middle two terms are these that we just found with an x, because negative 1x and negative 7x give me that negative 8. Now I need to look for greatest common factor between that first row. X squared and negative 7x is going to be an x. Negative 1x, we don't like dealing with negatives, and it's on the outside, so I have to factor out that negative. And a 7, jeez, they don't have anything in common, just 1. X squared and negative 1x, that is an x. And negative 7x, again, that's on the outside, and negative 7. So now my factors are 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 7 equals 0. Well, 3 obviously is not 0, but here I'm back to having two factors. I know, right? Two factors, one or both have to be 0. So I say x minus 1, whoops, wrong color. X minus 1 equals 0. Set each of them equal to 0. X minus 7 equals 0. Add 1, add 1. X is equal to 1. And add 7. X is equal to 7. And there are your two solutions for x. So that was a wild child, was it not? But the steps here involved, 1, doing some simplifying. You have to kind of clean it up, simplifying. Okay? And that may mean you need to multiply out that quadratic. Okay, then I had to do some distributive property. And we had to simplify again a little bit. Okay, then we found a GCF. All right, then we got a new equation, and then you're like, okay, X box, does that work? Or is it going to be quadratic formula? And then at the end, when you set it equal to 0, solve for your x values. Okay? All right. So I am recording this. You can go back and look at it later. Again, this was the first problem. Here is the second problem where we had the factors already. And here is the third one where we ended up using the quadratic formula. This is our homework. Our homework is the same as what we did on Friday. Several of you did it with me on Friday. So guess what? If you did it on Friday, you don't have to do it again. If you did not get it done on Friday, that is the only new homework we have, is to finish up topic 6. I think it might be homework 6. Because we actually restarted when we did the 6B part. So it might be homework 6 instead of 2. Maybe. I'm pretty sure. Okay? And we finished early. Any questions on this? All right. Good job today. You can work on your homework.